Hi, this is Bryan Jackson with Cambio Training. Well, guess what? It's Friday. I love Fridays because it's a chance for me to take a look back at the week and everything that took place and what were the biggest things that I learned? What were the biggest takeaways that helped me get a little bit better? So this week, what I really focused in on was my learning. And I've been reading the book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I don't know if you've read that book, but if you have, you know, as I've discovered that is a very, very powerful book. And so what that book really helps us understand is the power of now, focusing in and living in the present. You see, like most of us, I think I've lived the bulk of my life in the past or in the future, meaning that my thoughts, everything that's going through my mind throughout the day is usually not focused in on the present. That happens to a lot of us. So usually when my thoughts are focused in the past, things that I'm thinking of are maybe there was a past pain, or maybe there was a past experience that was really good. And it's helping me remember, or I'm thinking about when times were better, or when it was a hard experience. When my thoughts are in the future, like most of us, I think my thoughts are generally focused on, hey, life is going to get better when this happens to me, or when I have this experience. That's when things will start to come together. Well, the power of now really teaches us that we live in the present. Life is now. Life is happening to us in this moment. And if we can focus our mind and just clear our mind of all the thoughts and all the jumble that's going on around us and just focus on living now in this moment, what's happened to me is it's brought me so much peace. Just a couple examples that I want to throw to you is that I've been listening to the book, The Power of Now, in the mornings as I've gone to the gym and I've been doing my weight training. I'll tell you, it's actually transformed my workouts. And the reason that it's done that is when I go into the gym, in the past when I've done that, I've usually gone in thinking, okay, I'm gonna be here for say a couple hours and I'm gonna do these sets and these routines. And once I do this one, then I can move to the next one. Well, I've actually stopped doing that altogether. I go into the gym and I focus on the exact what I'm doing in that exact moment. In fact, I've actually even stopped counting the reps. You know, in the past I would say, okay, I'm gonna do this 8 to 10 times, then I'll stop. Now what I'm doing is each rep is 1, and then the next one is 1. I know it sounds weird, but it's worked for me. It's just focusing on that lift at that moment. And I just keep going until I can't do anymore, and I try to do it. And so I'm basically going till failure every single time. Well, what that's done is it's made my workout much more powerful. The other thing that happens is I'll be at the end of my workout. I'm 2 hours into the gym, and in my mind, I'm just focusing in on the present moment, and it feels like I just got there. I just started. So I have all this energy, and I'm able to just keep going and just be fine and not be exhausted and tired. So that's made a major difference. Just some other areas that I've noticed that have made major differences for me is when I go to work. If I'm having a conversation with a coworker, I'm focused exactly in on what it is that they're saying. And I'm not thinking about my own responses at the same time. I'm just being present to what's going on in that moment. And what happens is the conversations in my work life has gotten so much better this week. I've noticed a massive difference. I think a lot of us, and I'm the same, you start to think, okay, what's next in my day? What do I need to be working on next? Instead of focusing in on what am I doing right now? A lot of people, like me included, sometimes watch the clock and say, okay, at this time, then I get to go home, or then I get to go work on this thing, instead of just focusing in on right now, the present moment. By doing that, I've seen a massive, massive change that's been happening to me. One of the other things that Eckhart Tolle talks about in the book is that a lot of people will do these extreme activities to be able to try to bring their mind to the present moment so that they can let go of all thoughts. And when he talks about extreme activities, he's talking about these dangerous activities like mountain biking or parasailing or paragliding, jumping from a helicopter, something like that. Just doing these extreme sporting activities so that they can't think of anything else but what's going on right now in this moment. And what that does for them is it helps clear the mind, and it actually gives them so much focus and adrenaline and energy that they're able to almost be more like they were when they were a child, when they didn't have so many things and thoughts that were going around in their minds. Well, I decided to do an extreme activity this week. And I went out to Little Sahara out by Delta, Utah, and I took a dune buggy out with some friends, and we decided to go out and just have a ride and just have some fun. Now, I don't have a ton of experience riding razors and dune buggies, but I had a great time. It was fun. We were getting into it, and I would definitely say I was only focused on what I was doing at that moment. I was definitely in the now. Well, one of the other things that Eckhart Tolle talks about is he also talks about listening to our inner voice, our spirit. You know, some of us talk about it being our conscious, but he talks about really listening to who we are, our true authentic self, our spirit inside. Well, I was out with a friend. We were riding the razors, and it came his turn to drive. These razors that we were riding, these dune buggies, they had a full-out harness that you put yourself in to really strap in and be secure. And it really took a lot of effort to be able to get yourself harnessed in. The first ride we all went out, we all did it. We all harnessed up, put in the buckles, the loops, got everything all squared away. It took about 5 minutes to get yourself harnessed in where you were completely secure. Well, we did that the first time. Well, the next time we realized, that takes a lot of effort and energy, and we're not going that crazy. We'll be fine. So half of us started not wearing their harness anymore. Then by the third one, you're watching some of the other people and they're not harnessing up. So I decided, well, I'm not going to harness up. So I unbuckle it, and that way you have a little bit more mobility. You can see around as you're driving, and you just feel more comfortable. So we had done that for about 10, 15 minutes, and everybody was fine. We were having a great time. We were, again, focused in on the present. Well, we decided to do one last ride at the end of the day. And my buddy Carl, he decided that he was going to drive and I was going to get in the passenger seat. Well, as soon as I sat down in the passenger seat, this voice inside, and I'll call it the spirit, I felt it and it said, harness up. And at first I kind of was like, well, I'll be okay. But it came on strong. It was like, no, put your harness on. So I said, Carl, before you start driving, I'm going to harness up. He's like, are you kidding me? I'm not wearing my harness. And I said, no, I'm going to harness up. So I spent the time and I got all buckled in, and it took about 5 minutes. It was the routine, getting all cinched in, but I felt good that I was harnessed up. Well, we start driving and we're following some of our other friends going off on these different tracks and that. And as we got going, Carl was getting a little bit more and more comfortable. He was still a pretty cautious driver, but he was getting more comfortable as we were going along. Well, we came to this one part. It really wasn't that steep. It was just a gentle slope in the sand. And he decided he was going to do this fishtail and try to spin out a little bit and kick some sand up and have some fun. Well, as he starts to floor the gas and he starts to fishtail, we hit a hard spot in the sand. I think there were some rocks down in there. And literally our tires caught that hard part and the dune buggy flipped. And it not only just flipped once, it flipped over, went over the top, rotated again, and landed on its side. So we turned a full turn and a half by the time we were done. Well, that first turn, I was literally right next to this massive opening. If you've ever ridden a dune buggy, there's no windows. There's nothing like that that's keeping you in. There's literally a bar with an opening in the front and on the side. And had I not been harnessed in, there's a great possibility I would have gone flying right out of my seat where that dune buggy would have just come down and crushed right on top of me. And this thing had to be at least 1,000 pounds or more. It was extremely heavy. And then it would have crushed right on top of me, flipped around, and who knows what would have happened. I could have crushed up some bones. If it would have landed on my head and crushed my head, I may not even be here. So I listened to that inner voice, to that spirit tell me, harness up, be safe, be cautious. I'm sure glad I did. Now Carl, who was in the driver's seat, he didn't harness up. Luckily, when it flipped, because it flipped my way, he actually left his seat and fell on top of me because I was harnessed in. Otherwise, he would have gone right out the side opening area. He fell on top of me, and then when it rotated back over, he hit his head on the top of the dune buggy and then came back down when it came back on its side and landed back down hard on the ground. So he had split his head open, cut his legs and all that. I had a few scrapes on me too, and I'm a little sore today, but nowhere near what happened to Carl. And as soon as we stopped, I'm still harnessed into my seat. I looked down and I said, Carl, are you okay? And he just like a grunt like that. And he said, I got to get out of here. And he hurried and he got outside the dune buggy as fast as he can. Well, fortunately, everybody was okay. Nobody died, no broken bones, anything like that. But the lesson that I learned through that experience was listen to your inner voice. Listen to the spirit, what it's telling you. Because in that circumstance, Who knows what would have happened had I not done that? That's the lesson that I'm hoping I'm going to be able to carry with you for this week. I would also highly recommend that you read the book, The Power of Now. Like I said, I've read it twice. It is absolutely amazing. It's a life-changing book. It will help you find more peace and happiness and stillness in your life by focusing in on the present. So, last message that I want to leave. Make sure that you're subscribing to our YouTube channel. That's Cambio Training on our YouTube channel, because you're going to get some great messages like this and many others. We're doing some incredible podcasts. We're talking to experts in several different fields that are out there that are helping people in their health and fitness through meditation and spirituality, through their mental strength, their mental acuity, through their emotional intelligence. There's experts in all different kinds of fields that are sharing some incredible insight. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, because you'll be able to see those videos and it'll be able to provide you so much value, such a wealth of value and knowledge that you can have. Again, this is Bryan with Cambio Training. I hope you've enjoyed the end of the week message, and stay tuned for what comes next week and the lessons that are learned.